In the Pacific, the United States had kept Japan at bay until the defeat of Hitler and Mussolini. The war in the Pacific had been sweaty, grimy, bloody, and vicious. In 1942, the Japanese had swept through the British colonies in Asia and threatened to invade India. American General Douglas MacArthur led a fierce American defense of the Philippines. But the Japanese trapped the Americans in the narrow Bataan Peninsula and forced them to surrender. As MacArthur left, he vowed, "I shall return." Thousands of American and Filipino troops died in the terrible death march from Bataan to prison camps in the north of the islands, where only 4,000 of the 12,000 prisoners would survive. Intent on destroying the American Pacific Fleet, the Japanese steamed toward Midway Island, where the American fleet intercepted and defeated them in the first battle fought entirely by planes from aircraft carriers. The two fleets never saw each other. After the battle at Midway, the United States began the long, slow process of attacking Japanese-held islands in the Pacific. It was known as island hopping. They began with Guadalcanal in the Solomon Islands, where the Japanese kept up fanatical resistance for 6 months before finally giving in. It cost tens of thousands of U.S. lives to take the Japanese-held islands in the Pacific. Capturing the one small island of Okinawa in June 1945 cost 12,500 U.S. lives in a battle that was supposed to take 45 days but lasted 80. As U.S. forces advanced toward Japan, a small group of scientists working in secret were about to change the course of world history. Out in Los Alamos, New Mexico, Robert Oppenheimer was heading the top-secret Manhattan Project to develop an atomic bomb before the Germans. In July 1945, new President Truman met with Stalin and British leaders at the Potsdam Conference, held near Berlin. There, Truman learned that American scientists had successfully exploded an atomic device in the desert near Alamogordo, New Mexico. President Truman now had to decide whether this awesome new weapon should be used. Truman created a special committee of high-level policymakers to consider the options. It recommended unanimously that the bomb be dropped. A number of scientists disagreed. But after a second scientific committee recommended that the bomb be used, the president made his decision.